Greetings everyone, Sylvan98 back at it again with another reaction to Kamen Rider. We're on top 10 female Kamen Riders of all time. Should be a fun one, because I can definitely tell Nago is there. But still, where would she be placed? Because there's a few female Kamen Riders I've seen throughout the show, so... Let's see how high she ranks. I'm betting she's top 5, minimum. I bet she's top 5.
They might have pretty faces, but these girls could put you in the hospital if they wanted to. These are the most unique and memorable female Kamen Riders of all time. And of course, let me know your picks in the comments. Number 10 is Kivara from Decade. So Natsumi is not around very much as a Kamen Rider, but she definitely does receive a lot of screen time in Decade while she's unhenshin. And then add to that the fact that her henshin scene is so memorable. And I gotta say, her suit looks awesome because it's based off of Kamen Rider Kiva's suit, essentially, which was already an awesome looking Kamen Rider suit. But this one has different colors, it's a lot more feminine looking, and still retains somehow that gothic Kiva vibe.
True, it does kind of give off the feelings of like a vampire bat knight or something, so I think it works.
Number 9 is Beroba from Geats.
Of course.
Now, Beroba is pretty strange. She's from the future, and she kind of has the personality of a spoiled child that's used to always getting what she wants out of life, and that's pretty much what she expects. She pretty much treats everybody like poop, but eventually gets her comeuppance. So Beroba has multiple forms. Her first form is a mech-like form, and heavily resembles Breaking Mammoth from Kamen Rider 01. After a little while, she would obtain the ability to henshin into Glare 2, a true Kamen Rider form. And then towards the end of the show, she would obtain Premium Beroba, which was more like a monster form, but cool nonetheless. The dialogue that she has with Buffa during the series is very, very good and very, very well written. I really like this kind of tug-of-war that she has with Buffa throughout the series. And yeah, overall, Beroba is just eccentric and memorable, whether you like her or not.
Fair.
Number 8 is Poppy from X-Aid. Now, if you want a female Kamen Rider with a lot of personality, this is your girl. She's not a rider for very long, but she serves as a guide of sorts for the other riders and is very, very prevalent in the show as Asuna, her human form. So because of that, I think she belongs here. Kamen Rider X-Aid has a very distinctive visual style, and I have to say that visually she looks how a female rider from X-Aid should look. Very, very nicely done by the costume team. Number 8, Tsukuyomi from Gio. Originally in the series, she has amnesia and she can't remember anything. But eventually she discovers that she is in fact a princess, and that her brother erased the memories of her childhood and left her in Omagio's alternate timeline. Throughout most of the show, she simply assists Kamen Rider Gio and Gaze, but towards the very end of the series, she finally henshins into Kamen Rider Tsukuyomi. And although she's not around for very long, she looks very, very cool. First of all, the flowing design, the robe-like design of her Kamen Rider outfit matches her non-henshined aesthetic very well, considering that she's always wearing this flowing white robe.
I was gonna say, that's a nice comparison actually. I like how they work that into her unhinged design than her henshin design. It's actually a pretty good touch.
And I love her helmet design. She has temporal powers and she can freeze time or use different kinds of energy attacks.
Sounds promising.
Number 6 is Shuki from Hibiki. She is a very, very old Oni that assumes the physical form of a woman in her 30s. Due to her age, she's highly knowledgeable of Oni incantations and is very advanced in the experiences that she has. On Hibiki, every rider has their own signature weapon that doubles as an instrument, and hers is the harp. Her parents were killed when she was very young by the Makamo, and she is hell-bent on revenge. Her suit is very interesting. On one hand, I'm not really a huge fan of the yellow miniskirt and top that it looks like she has, but her helmet is so cool that it kind of makes up for it, and the end result is a decent looking Kamen Rider suit.
I'll say it kind of reminds me of the Kunoichi design, honestly. Like, the red armor is her skin and the yellow clothing is her, ninja outfit. So I think it works, honestly. I can imagine that it would have been better if it was like a white and red or some other color, like, I don't know, just something that's not yellow. No, the yellow is throwing me off here because it almost looks white with the coloration. So why didn't they just go with white?
Number 5, Marika / Momo Rider from Gaim. This is one chick that you don't want to mess with. It is shown frequently throughout the show that she has the skills in hand-to-hand combat to be able to defeat people when she's not henshined at all. She's sort of a gun for hire, and at times she seems completely ruthless. However, throughout the show, as we learn more about her and we see more sides of her personality, she really endears herself to the audience. Number 4 is Orange Mage from Kamen Rider Wizard. So Mayu Imamori is the twin sister of Medusa. When we're first introduced to her, she is simply a student at school until she reveals that she has the power of Kamen Rider Mage. She's got some pretty cool abilities, and I think Kamen Rider Beast would love to share a mayonnaise sandwich with her. You know what I'm saying?
Oof.
Number 3 is Electronic Wave Humanoid Tackle, also known as Denpa Ningen Takeru, from Stronger. Played by the late Kyoko Akada, she is the OG female Kamen Rider. Sporting a bright red ladybug motif, Denpa Ningen Takeru would oftentimes take things upon herself to fight crime and make her own plans for defeating the terrifying Black Satan army. Sometimes she would team up with Stronger, but she also liked to go off and do things on her own a lot of the time. A true legend, she is what I would expect a female Kamen Rider of her era to be. And as far as that goes, she hits it out of the park.
Yep, Nago.
Number 2 is Nago from Geats.
I called it. Top 5.
Now let me tell you what, it was very, very hard to put her at number 2. This might be the closest. Actually, this is without a doubt the closest it's ever been between number 1 and 2 on these lists. But Nago is just a great character. When we're first introduced to her on the show, she's purposely presented to us as a sort of influencer. She has millions of followers and she's very famous, but her home life is not satisfying and it does not make her happy. So, you know, maybe in the beginning you might not think that she has a lot of depth, but throughout the show, she's faced with some very hard truths about her family and about herself that she has to overcome. And there are times for her that it looks very, very bleak, but she keeps on fighting. And throughout the course of the show, she evolves greatly. She goes from being a misunderstood celebrity to being a true heroine that can be as brave as the situation calls for her to be. Now, in terms of aesthetics, she has one of the best looking Kamen Rider helmets of all time. It's so unique from all the other riders and all the other shows. And when you pair it with Beat, man, that look for her is just absolutely on point. Alright guys, the number 1 female rider of all time is Yaiba from 01. When we're first introduced to her, she's pretty much just a blade, a soldier to be pointed in the direction of trouble. But over time, she gains more and more independence and more confidence in herself. Throughout the series, there's kind of a back and forth between her and Fua, also known as Kamen Rider Vulcan. And, you know, he really tries to pull her back from the edge. But eventually she does break free and becomes even more of a badass. As far as aesthetics, she has multiple forms and they all look awesome. There are no other instances in Kamen Rider where a female rider has so many forms. Oh, and also, Yaiba loves stuffing sushi in her mouth. A lot of it. But you know, this is just my list. Let me know yours in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot if you would smack the shit out of that like button. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.
That was awesome. I actually like that. Anywho, that was a nice list, especially the top 3. Those were interesting to consider. But still, I call the Nagos in top 5. I might be biased given I'm watching Geats, but the details. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. Looking forward to seeing more of Kamen Rider from this guy. And I said, might throw in a Kamen Rider music group, might throw in a couple Kamen Rider little other lists in there, but we'll see how it goes. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!